You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, and exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society.
Well, hello everyone out there, and we really appreciate you all coming in and wanting to spend some time with us tonight here on the Six Screens Telenetwork. We've been doing this now for 20 years, exposing the Watchtower. And I'm so glad to see so many people leaving the Watchtower. And we're going to get into that tonight. We got a lot to talk about. My name's Rick Farron. I'm coming to you from the apostate capital of the world, right up here in Boston. And I really think that we hold claim to that. You know, we had 350 apostates and deposers here 3 weeks ago. And it was on Saturday night. We had a big crowd and we really enjoyed ourselves with the Still Alive in 2025 convention. And I want to thank all those people who came and helped us out. We really appreciate you coming and being with us. It was really a fantastic arrangement to have and meet all you people. It was really so exciting and fun. But I'll tell you what, a lot is happening in the Watchtower. You guys know that. The Watchtower is on life support. I just can't see how they're going to keep going on. They can't. This organization is out of control. They really are. They're in total free fall. They're doing things that, well, we're gonna get into it tonight to some degree. You guys heard. I think it's one of the biggest stories. I know I say that every week, but my goodness, I can't believe what the Watchtower is doing. I'm not sure it's for damage control. Maybe they're feeling like they got to loosen up a little bit. They got to take the grips off of, putting so much control on people. We've learned here in the last year or year and a half, all the changes. Let's talk about, going out in field service. You no longer have to fill out a field service report. You just check the box. I mean, that's way different than when you and I were in it, right? Geez, we had to fill out how many Bible studies we had, how many return visits we had, how many magazines we placed, how many books we placed. But now all you have to do, I call it the check the box ministry. That's all it is. No big ordeal. If you went out and spent 5 minutes in the ministry, and everybody could do that, right? So if you spend 5 minutes in, you're now counted as a publisher. And so it's amazing what the watch. So why are they doing this? Do you scratch your head and think about it? And why are they allowing beards? Why are they allowing women to wear slacks? Why have they kind of changed the meaning of disfellowship to remove? They've had quite a few changes in the last year. And you say, well, why are they doing it? And of course, now you can toast. You could have a toast before. You go to a wedding and everyone has a little glass of wine. You can't clink your glasses. Well, you can do it now. Yeah, the Watchtower says you can do it now. But you guys heard it. I'm not the first to report it. But you heard this week, they're now allowing for college, for university. You can now graduate from high school and you can go to college and no one's going to question you on that. And let me remind you, people have been questioned on it. I've been questioned on it. When I got out of high school, a lot of people listening to this broadcast tonight, they have been questioned for going to higher education. And of course, the wording has changed. We'll get into all of that. So I want to play a video. I think it's very important that you see this video. David Splain. Well, he's a governing body member. Boy, these guys are really coming across as idiots. Really. They talk down to all of the witnesses. They talk to them like they're elementary school kids. And I'm going to play the video. Let me get it up here. Just take a second to do that. But it's fascinating to me that the Watchtower seems to be, getting away with all this stuff. It's just absolutely nuts that they're able to pull this off, and the rank and file kind of still hangs in there. But I think this might be exceptional. This may be exceptional. And well, let me get you to see it. I want you to see it. Let me get this now. We're going to share the screen. Just take a second to get it up. And so, anyways, let's see if we can't. Let's preview Reddit. Okay, is that it? No, not that one. Let's go to this one. All right, this is a governing body member. Let's share the screen. I want you to listen closely to what this guy says. I'm just going to make sure I'm going to play it. Make sure you can hear it. So let's play it. Let's make it big screen here so you can see it. So let's play it.
A brother or sister may wonder, should I get additional education? If so, what type?
I hope everyone can hear that. Let me just go back and take a look here. I'm on a different screen. I got a couple of computers. Okay, let's, I guess you can hear it. So let's go back and make sure you can hear it. Okay, let's play the clip. Just give us a second.
Now, what do we mean by additional education? This refers to any secular education or training beyond the basic education provided by the government. It includes courses offered by
Let's go right back. Let's go back to the
beginning.
beginning.
May wonder, should I get additional education? If so, what type? Now, what do we mean by additional education? This refers to any secular education or training beyond the basic education provided by the government. It includes courses offered by universities, colleges, apprenticeships, trade schools, technical schools, vocational training, short courses, and continuing education. Is it appropriate for Christians to pursue additional education? With this update, we'd like to clarify our understanding. While there are dangers involved in pursuing certain forms of education, basically, whether to obtain additional education or not is a matter for personal decision. At Galatians 6:5, the Bible says, "For each one will carry his own load of responsibility." So, each adult must make his or her own decision on whether to obtain additional education. Parents are also responsible for decisions regarding their child's education, and their guidance can prepare their child to make wise decisions regarding education once he's an adult. How can we make good decisions when considering additional education? Each adult Christian, and in the case of minor children, each family head, should prayerfully consider Bible principles and the unique factors involved with a certain educational program before making the decision. And while an elder or a mature friend may discuss with us the pros and cons about obtaining additional education, no Christian, including the elders, should judge a fellow Christian's personal decision on this matter.
All right, we'll stop it right there. So there it is. You heard Splain talking about this. They're now saying, that came out just this week, the organization, the Watchtower organization, is now saying that fine, it's a personal decision. You want to go to college, higher education, go ahead, be our guest, and you can't be challenged or questioned by an elder. Friends, this is an abrupt change. Any formal apologies here? How many people are listening in to this program tonight that could have really been doing really well in life? There's many of former ex-Jehovah's Witnesses that are sitting home in their chair tonight, and they're saying, geez, I could have gone on. I could have been living a way better life. Is the Watchtower going to apologize? No, they don't. They just come on and say, well, we now can allow, not even that easily said. They're just basically treated like they said that they're now going to have circuit conventions in Massachusetts. There really wasn't anything that, gee, we apologize. We made an abrupt change. I know in the past we didn't allow for this, but how many young people have rejected going to university, and here they are now struggling without any real careers? Boy, they got a real bone to pick with the Watchtower. All of us do. There are people, and I know some here personally, right here in Massachusetts, in the congregation I used to go to, and there was two young men, Philip and Matthew, and they were the valedictorian and the salutatorian. They were the smartest kids in the high school, and they both got scholarships, but their parents were staunch Jehovah's Witnesses, and they went into the ministry pioneering rather than take the scholarship. How sad is that? Can you imagine that? And now, how do you think they would feel today hearing that? And these guys really had to work their butts off to make a living, a good living. And how do you think these people today would feel, especially even ones that had, say, like a full scholarship? Do you know what that is? Having a full scholarship, all your tuition paid, all of your expenses for housing, your books, your food. Oh my goodness, there's witnesses that have given up full scholarships. This is disgusting. That this is something, friends, everybody should think about. Not only ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, but those that are deeply entrenched in this organization should give some serious thought to this change, as well as some of these other changes this cockamamie organization has been pulling off on people here for the last year and a half. One time all of this stuff was supposed to be, Jehovah is directing the organization, and Jehovah's saying that you really shouldn't pursue higher education. And at least in my circuit, and I heard this numerous times on the platform at circuit conventions, district conventions, I heard them say, if you go on to higher education, that would be like rearranging the furniture on the Titanic right before it crashed. Why even do that? So they were telling us for years, no higher education. And, I have to tell you, I count my lucky stars. I really didn't listen to these bums. I didn't. I pursued education after I left high school. And I got kind of a lot of flack from the organization for it. Well, you really shouldn't be doing that, but, well, let's keep it down. Don't talk about it. I wasn't just fellowship for it, but as a young person, you need encouragement, don't you? You need someone patting you on the back and saying, Rick, go ahead, get educated. Cindy, get educated, do good in life, make a good living, raise a good family. How, in goodness name's sake, I feel so bad for my baby boomer peers. I really do. And millennial peers too. And even Gen Z peers that have not gone to college. But the baby boomers, they're feeling it the worst. These baby boomers that gave up, back in the 1950s and 60s and 70s, that they gave up going to school to pursue spiritual pursuits. And consequently, they're now poor as possibly can be. People have been giving me information all week on their status of poverty because of this stupid organization and what they've done to people. I mean, this update 5 with David Splain, this is certainly, this is a gut punch. This is a punch to the gut. And hopefully it will wake people up. Really, not just, those that are deeply entrenched in the Watchtower, but hopefully it'll wake up a bunch of elders. Do you realize the position that elders were in? They really put a lot of pressure on people that wanted to pursue higher education. They in some cases, many cases, in fact, I'll read you something, right? Well, in fact, I'll read it to you right now. It was in the elders book. It is still in there right now. And they're going to have to change it. They're going to have to change the elders book this fall, which they're going to do. Let me see if I can find you that. Yeah, this is in the elders book. And I want to read you this. It's under the heading situation. Now listen to this. Situations that may require a review of an appointed brother's qualifications. So right in the current elders book, the flock book, as we know it, shepherding the flock, right in that current elders book, we read under situations that may require a review of an appointed brother's qualifications. In other words, if you were an appointed brother, you're a ministerial servant, maybe an elder, even a circuit overseer. If that brother has a member of his household, this is right in the current elders manual. It says if that brother or he has a member of his household pursues higher education, if an appointed brother, his wife, or his children pursue this higher education, does this life pattern show that he puts kingdom interests first in his life? Does he teach his family members to put kingdom interests first? Does he respect what has been published by the faithful slave on the dangers of higher education? So the elders manual is saying that if an appointed brother pursues higher education, but not just him, if his wife or his children pursue higher education, he's showing a life pattern that's not putting kingdom interests first, and he could be removed. And many elders, ministerial servants have been removed simply because it might not have been them pursuing higher education, but even one of their kids. They just had a talk at the convention, this pure worship convention this summer on that very thing. So my goodness gracious. I mean, this why how do you make sense out of nonsense? That's what I would like to know. Because it's nonsense what this Watchtower is doing to people. And really when you stop and think about it, there never has been a real reason to have a policy why Jehovah's Witnesses, could not have a higher education. I think it was strictly, purely for control. They love to control people from the cradle to the grave. They love to control you. What you do in your bedroom, what you watch for movies, what books you read, whether you go to school or not. I think it was all for control. There was no biblical reason why a person couldn't pursue education. And do you realize what many people are saying right now? They're actually saying that their lives have been ruined. Now, it wasn't ruined. I never saw comments coming into the 6 screens saying that people's lives were ruined because they couldn't have a beard. I never seen comments coming in here that people's lives were ruined because, the women had to wear a dress and not slacks. But I am seeing tons of information coming into the 6 screens saying that their whole lives, and not only their lives, but their children's lives, have been ruined because of this stupid policy of the Watchtower, this stupid rule. Friends, I'm going to tell you something. People are in tears over this. I'm not exaggerating. I get information today coming to people are crying. This is upsetting. This is not fair. This could be really big. It could cause a lot of people to leave the Watchtower. Yeah, go ahead.
May I say something, Rick?
Let's go with the man first. Well, let's go with the lady. Hold on one second. Let's go with the lady first, and let's take it nice and slow. Go ahead, Miss. Go ahead.
In my opinion, higher education should be the law of the land worldwide. All XJWs should petition to all the nations of the world to put higher education as as law. All countries worldwide, higher education should be the law of the land. That's my opinion.
Well, it's a good opinion. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, go ahead. Let's go to 248. 248. Go ahead.
Hello, Rick. This is John.
Yes, John.
Yes, well, I didn't listen. You know, as I mentioned before, I was a very weak brother, and I was disfellowshipped for many decades. I attended college. I acquired my associate's degree, I acquired my bachelor's degree, and then I acquired my master's degree. So it had no effect on me because I didn't listen. And the thing is that what's interesting, when I graduated from college 3 times, I took my diplomas to my mother to have her take a look at my diplomas. And you know what she did? She turned her head. She didn't even look at my diplomas. And I said, Mom, I said, you're not going to congratulate your son for graduating from college? And she said, no, because it took you away from Jehovah. That's what she said. Because my mom was the witness for many, many years, since 1951. And of course, she believed in this nonsense that was spelled upon us as Jehovah's Witnesses. I never did listen. Now, I didn't pursue my education when I was a witness, but once I was once I was in fellowship, I attended college. And I didn't I paid no attention to them. And the thing is that the stronger you are as a witness, the more you are indoctrinated, the more they're going to have effect on you. As a matter of fact, I voted in the 1972 election. I voted for President Nixon against George McGovern. I was a registered voter because that voting is also a conscious matter. So I was a very independent witness. Of course, I didn't tell anyone that I voted or had a registration card, but I voted. And so when you are a very strong witness and you listen to these men, which they are, of course, I believed that I was indoctrinated as well, but I wasn't as indoctrinated. That's the difference. And I felt that a lot of all these things were conscious matter. So the result of that, unfortunately, the ones who were very strong witnesses and followed them to the letter of the law, they presented, they went along with this. And the whole thing, of course, is nonsense. Because you go to any other religion, Catholic, Baptist, Lutheran, what have you, all of them go to college. Their leaders don't tell them they can't go to college. Matter of fact, they encourage it. So, and also you should be able to vote. That's another matter that should be a conscious matter. Voting is very legal, and you should have, that's your civic duty to vote.
Well, that might be John, that might be the next thing on the list. My goodness. But no, I mean, you're in agreement here. I mean, obviously, that was terrible what your mother did. I'm sorry to hear that. That could be very discouraging. Geez, you go to school, you try to get an education, you try to get your life better. You would have been able to even help your mother more than you probably could. But oh, no, nobody saw how beneficial having an education would be. Well, John, I feel bad for you. Thank you, though, for calling in. We got a number of people coming in, so we have to go to the next call.
Hey, Rick.
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
This is Stephen. I'll be very brief. Just like John, I put myself through school. I worked 2 years after high school, and I'm like, I don't care what Watchtower said, I'm going to school. And I went to school. I put myself through it. And I was always wondering why I never could seem to achieve being a ministerial servant. And finally, this one elder who I hated more than life itself, still do, need to work on that. He said to me, you'll never make ministerial servant because you went against Jehovah. And he was talking about because I went to school. So it's really interesting. I wonder how many people, suffragists were never even used in the congregation because they went to school. But the point I actually wanted to make was the timing of this announcement is really interesting. Because to the best of my knowledge, if college hasn't already started for this year, 2025, it's going to be starting in about a week or 2 weeks. So if you were a person who just graduated high school as a witness, now all of a sudden the governing body says, it's okay for you to go to school. Can you even get in school? Is it too late? What school would you go to? What would you major in? How are you going to get your financing? By the time you even think about all that, college has already started. So now you're probably going to have to wait until the fall semester. So even the timing of this is very suspect. Why didn't Watchtower announce this a couple months ago so that people who were coming out of school could think about this and maybe get their affairs in order and actually go to school if they want? So you could really see this is nothing that Watchtower actually wanted to do. The people who actually run Watchtower are the ones that are forcing Watchtower to do this, and time will only tell as to why they're making this change. But it's definitely not anything Watchtower does. Watchtower does not care about anybody. They only care about money. If you're a young person and you're seeing all the flip-flops, please get out of this organization, go to school, major in something that you can get a job with, and try to live the best life that you can. Thanks, Rick.
Well, good comment, Stefan, really. And you got a good point. Why now? Why didn't you do it a couple months ago and make it easier for people? Well, the Watchtower never makes things easy for people. If they can make you crawl on the floor, they'll do it. They don't do anything to help you at all. And, even I get information from an elder today, and I guess he's going to write a letter to the governing body. And he's saying that, governing body, you stole the best years of my life. When I was a teenager, you wanted me to pioneer. You wanted me to follow Jehovah's direction. And then they made me an elder, he said. And then he made, the organization made him judge others. Can you imagine the position now that he feels he doesn't want any part of this anymore, he's saying to me. And now many elders are questioning this. Geez, if you were a sensible-minded elder, wouldn't you be questioning it too? And, they all made the elders, they made all of us witnesses, all of the Jehovah's Witnesses worldwide. They made us all feel like we are a chosen nation. We've got the governing body. We've got the Watchtower. We got it made in the shade. Made in the shade. There's people tonight, I'm going to tell you something. There's Jehovah's Witnesses picking dumpsters. There's Jehovah's Witnesses living in with each other, boarding in with each other, living in tents. These are the reports I'm getting. They're living in their cars. These are things that's happening. And it's not all, I'm not going to blame it entirely on the fact that they go to school. But let me tell you, you guys are not a dumb. We got a smart audience here. And you realize that, boy, today, if you don't have an education, look at the prices of stuff. How, in goodness' name's sake, do you do it? You have to have an education or a business or some source of income somewhere, someplace that can help you. But there's so many witnesses in tears tonight. They're pulling the hair out of their head. That they can't believe that an organization could have done this to them. And there's not any feasible, reasonable explanation why they didn't allow it. And now there's not any reasonable explanation why they are allowing it. Wouldn't you expect more from this organization? This is Jehovah's organization. That's what they say. We know it's not. Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's because Watchtower, because the governing body represents Jehovah, it's like Jehovah talking out both sides of his mouth. I mean, it's really making Jehovah look like a fool. I mean, when you think about it, when we were in, it was, you're using the world to the full, and the world is Satan's, and Satan was cast down to the earth, and woe for the earth and for the sea, right? And so we were to stay far away from it, and you were going to commit adultery, and you were going to get involved in the world. And for them at this time, I think the timing, like you said, is interesting. If we're living in the end of the end of the end of the end, like Stephen Lett said, there would be no reason whatsoever to open up college right now. In fact, my uncle told me a few weeks back, he said that the climate clock is only 2 to 4 years away, that Jehovah would have to step in before this climate thing, before nobody could breathe. It's going to be so hot, and all that kind of stuff. And so he said they're 2 to 4 years away, and that's his hope. He's 81 years old. So why would you say nobody should stand in the way of anybody going to college or anything like that? Wrong timing. And like that one brother said a little while ago, you know, they started just beyond the time where you could actually sign up for college. It's kind of a process. And so even that delays it a year for the most part. You know what I mean? You're going to probably have to wait till next year, but they did open it up. So, I mean, it's amazing, but it's like, I don't even know how they could get up there and talk because they're talking out both sides of their mouth. I mean, they've always have, but this has gotten ridiculous. And like you said, I've watched a lot of brothers. I saw a lot of brothers that were educated from other countries come in, and they were used by the brothers. They were respected by the brothers, and we were looked at as kind of dirt. In fact, an elder told me one time, he said, unless you have a decent donation, you don't have a voice. Well, I didn't have a donation because I was pioneering, because I was doing, you know, the work and, you know, trying to be a ministerial servant. So I didn't have, you know, a big chunk of money, but some of these brothers who were educated lived in the Broadmoor out in Colorado Springs. I mean, in really highfalutin areas, you know, pianos, going to lunch at, you know, 5-star restaurants every day. And I never could figure it out. I was like, why are they getting the respect? Why are they getting the positions? Because they had the money. So this is probably, Rick, like you said, one of the biggest forms of hypocrisy. I mean, Jehovah don't know what he's doing, you know, dresses, beards. I mean, Rick, these should be wake-up calls for these people. And I think it will be. I think this is going to be another wake-up call, because it'll be one of the very first things I asked my uncle. Did they just really say you could go to school? And why would you go to school if the climate clock's got 2 to 4 years on it? Isn't that weird, Rick?
That is weird. No, I know that climate clock. I'm familiar with that. And yes, some witnesses are taking it super seriously. You know, why wouldn't they keep saying the same thing they did 50 years ago? It's like rearranging the furniture on the Titanic. You know, really, it's nuts. It's nuts.
It really is. And it's so hypocritical. I watch them, and I know now why they stare at teleprompters, because it's not in their heart. You couldn't really go on, you know, the governing body site without a teleprompter, because you'd have to be going, what the hell do they want us to say? What are we going on here to say? Are you serious? Rick, you'd have to be nuts. I'm serious, and I mean seriously nuts, to be a governing body member and them come out of a meeting and say they can go to school. To be that kind of a puppet, to be that kind of man that sells their soul for money. Wouldn't you, Rick, if you were in a meeting like, wouldn't you say, what the hell are you talking about? Wouldn't you say, are you shitting me? Are you guys kidding? I mean, you're in the middle of a meeting with maybe 20 people. You'd say, what's this all about? And you know what they'd say, Rick? You know what they'd say, what it's all about? We're losing people, you dumb shits. This is a corporation. We got to keep this boat afloat. Let them go to college. Who gives a shit? So that was what really goes on behind closed doors. It's a corporation, like you said, Rick. It's bleeding. It's sinking. It's a sinking ship. Just look online at all the millions of people coming out of there. I see people every day, TikTok, Instagram, people I've never seen, hundreds coming out of there. So it's a sinking ship, and they're giving that away like, hey, we'll let you go to college. Hey, we'll let you wear pants. Hey, it's so obvious what they're doing. And
not only that, though, if you think about it, this college thing, I'm thinking that maybe the reason why they're allowing it is because right now there's so few young people in that organization that maybe they're trying to get the younger crowd back, and the only way to get them back is to say, hey, you can go to school. But also, like you said earlier, too, about the money thing, Watchtower needs money. You know, they want that money. They got to have that money, and they figure, well, wait a minute. If these kids go to school, that means they could donate more, and we can get more money from them and all that stuff. Yeah.
Great point. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, in fact, Dan, it's really interesting. I'll tell you, the governing body right now, all of them are bouncing around like pinballs in a pinball machine. And they're trying to stop the bleeding. People are leaving, Dan, like you said, in droves, and they know it. They know it. They're in survival mode right now. They're flapping in the water like a person drowning. They don't know what to do. They're going down. They're trying everything they can do to keep the people in. It's obvious. It's very obvious. It's
clear. And like the guy said too, if the younger people don't get on board, you don't have a congregation. In fact, a lot of churches around America, aside from Jehovah's Witnesses, when you go into them, there's no children, there's no teenagers. They're gone. And all you have is this fading generation of older people like my uncle, who's 81, who has nowhere else to go. So if you don't release some reins, I mean, some of them are going to leave, some of them are going to get educated and see what the difference is, that it's a cult. But if you lose that younger generation, you're done for. So these guys are thinking long term. They're thinking just like a corporation. We've got to open this door so that we don't lose the younger crowd, and they are leaving. That's what I see online. Most of your 20 to 27, they don't want anything to do with it. They're out. They're very vocal. I'm like, holy crap, you know. I just sit back and go, wow, what is happening? But what's happened, Rick, I know I'm talking a lot, is it's gotten so lukewarm. So it had to get lukewarm. It had to water everything down, water down the drugs, water down the beers, water down the school now. Who knows what's next? But it's going to get so watered down. I just think, Rick, it's going to dissolve. It has to sink. They're trying to take a sinking ship in the middle of a big storm.
Yeah.
And navigate it. Yeah, it's a massive storm. Wouldn't you agree, Rick?
Well, yeah. In fact, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you all the repercussions. I'm going to give you the repercussions from this. Now, I tell you, I've had on this program before. We talked about people committing suicide. We talked about some of the most heinous things you ever heard of in the witness world. But I'll tell you something. And I'm going to play a clip. I'm going to play a news clip from a few years back of a woman that killed her family. Jehovah's Witness woman up in Michigan. You'll remember the story. Her and she killed her family, and one of the reasons that was cited, she was being shunned. Her and her husband were disfellowshipped, and one of the reasons it was given because one of them was, I guess, trying to go to school or wanting to go to college, and of course the Watchtower was giving them all kinds of trouble. Let me play this little clip. I want people to see it because you'll find this. This is appalling that the governing body can just come out now and kind of say, fine, you can go to school. People have died because of this. Let's listen in. Let's watch this.
More questions about a murder-suicide involving a wife, her husband, and their 2 adult children. Was the way a church treated the wife a contributing factor to her killing her family and then herself? This new video posted online shows a woman blaming the church for the tragedy before she was escorted out. And now Detroit's Jim Kirshner is live in Keego Harbor right now with a closer look at that video. Jim, what have you learned?
Carolyn, police sources are telling me this mother left a long suicide note. In it, she said she was ashamed, but the full details are not being made public. Was this family shunned by the Jehovah's Witnesses? Take another look at what happened inside a church here yesterday.
5 years ago, all of you pulled your support from this small family. From this small family. Please get down. And you all do not touch me. Do not touch me.
Video posting says this was recorded yesterday at the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses in nearby Union Lake.
You turned them away and you shunned them. For what? Because they wanted to raise their children as they saw fit.
That woman was escorted out. We've not been able to contact her. It was Friday that police found the family of 4 dead, all with gunshot wounds to the head. Bethany Stewart, a 24-year-old daughter. Stephen, a 27-year-old son. Daniel, the husband, 47, who worked at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. And the wife, Lauren, who police said killed her family, then turned the gun on herself. It was recovered inside the house. Lauren was an aspiring model and actress. Police sources confirm these are her pictures from a couple of years ago. Emotions are running high in this video.
Dan and Lauren Stewart are dead. Their 2 children are dead.
No one was at that church when we called today. I can also tell you police sources say the family dog was killed here, found inside a bathtub. What caused Lauren Stewart to snap could be inside that suicide note. No more details are being released by police. I'm told the Keego Harbor chief is off today for the President's Day holiday. Reporting live, Jim Kurtzner.
Well, let's Well, I wanted to bring that to your attention, folks. That was a woman up in Michigan a few years back. It was about probably 10, 12 years now. But she killed her family. And there was a woman, you couldn't hear it too good, but a woman who was really disgusted went into the Kingdom Hall and was yelling at them, saying, "You killed her. You killed her and her family by shunning her." Now, the husband was, he worked at the university. And the information I have been given, now I can't tell you for sure this is exactly it, but I'm sure it had something to do with it. But it had to do with higher education. Evidently, the woman and the husband, one of them was seeking higher education, and they were looked down upon by the Jehovah's Witnesses in that congregation. I guess even to the point of being disfellowship. This is what I heard. And consequently, the woman was so distraught being disfellowship, she killed the family. Now, here's the Watchtower this week coming out. And, well, now you go to school. No, not even making any suggestions to we have new. They didn't even say we have new light. I mean, like they usually would. Then they're coming out and just, okay, no problems. It's a conscience matter now. What about the people? Have there been people disfellowshipped for going to school? Yes, there have been. Yes, there have been people being disfellowshipped for pursuing higher education. What do you think? Come on. Who wants to say hello? Let's go to, I guess let's go to Chicago once again if you want to come on, Stefan. Let's go to Troy. Let's go up to 248. Come on, John.
Great, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead, Stefan. I'm sorry, John. Hold on. Go ahead, Stefan.
Okay, so I wanted to just relate a quick example. There was an elder that I had worked with in another congregation, and he was telling me how when he first became a witness through his wife was a witness first. He came in just to kind of keep his family together, but he was a guard at a prison. He was, I think it was the highest ranking guard there, short of the warden. And when he became a witness and started studying, they were telling him that he was going to have to quit that job and find some other kind of employment. Jehovah didn't approve that. He told them, he said, I got a family to provide for. Plus, I've only got X number of years before I can retire, from this job with the benefits and so forth and so on. And he just told him, I'm not quitting. So he still became a witness, and he started pioneering over time. He then left that, and he became a police officer. And so, of course, here come the elders again. Well, you can't be a gun-carrying police officer and be a witness or be an elder or whatever. And I think he gave up whatever position he had at the time. And he worked that for however long he needed to work that, and then he retired. Now, the point that I'm making is he went on to tell me about 4 other brothers. 2 quit their jobs as either police or guard, I don't remember which. And he was talking about how even at that late date, how these brothers have suffered financially. He said, I'm on however many houses, I travel, I do this and that. In fact, he would take the circuit overseer on vacation every year. Whoever the circuit overseer was, he would take he and his wife on vacation with him and his wife every single year. These other 2, they were barely making it. And they were constantly complaining about the fact that they had listened to Watchtower, and because of that, they were suffering financially. The other 2 did the same thing he did. They kept working, they retired with their full benefits, and they're having the time of their life now in retirement. So the point that I'm making is people that are listening, you're trying to make up your mind or whatever the case is, do not take the bad advice of this organization, because you will suffer and you will pay the consequences for it. Take a look around at the witnesses that you go to the hall with. How do they look? You know, are they in bad shape? Are they in bad shape financially? Are they driving old rusted, cars? Can't go on vacation? Are they renting? Maybe even if they own a house. Look at their life and ask yourself, is this what you want for yourself? Because if you don't want to be that, then don't do what they do, which is listen to this organization. Get out of this organization, get in school, get something marketable, and live your life and have a great life. Thanks, Rick.
Well, well said, Stefan. Hey, let's go to Boorgie. Dick Boorgie. I'm sorry, John. Hold on. We'll give some other people a chance, John. We'll get John before we leave. Go ahead, Dick. Come on. Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. When I get out of the Marines, one of the options that I had was to be a cop. And they yelled, "Oh, you can't, proceed, try to be a cop because you can carry a gun and you might be responsible to be blood guilty." But if you think about it, during the Old Testament, the Israelite army, they went around and they killed all kinds of people, like in Jericho and so forth. So a spear was, a spear and a sword was a cardinal weapon they had in that time. In our time, it's a gun, a revolver, a pistol, or whatever. And another thing about college, I've told this on 6 screens a number of times, but I'll go through it real quick. I went to Newbury. It was a business college, and I didn't have, Marine Corps doesn't give you a whole lot of training except for a rifle and a gun. And I knew I had to get some kind of education because I just barely graduated from high school. And so another veteran said, go to college, you'll pay your rent, and you live in the same apartment building that I did. So I applied for the college, and I get in, and I'm really glad I did. But I used to hide my books in a brown paper bag we got for groceries because I knew the elders didn't want you to go to college. So there was one time I didn't find any brown bags around the house, so I said, well, I'll take a chance. And I scooted down the staircase, and sure enough, here comes Brother Elder. Where are you going, Brother Boog? I try to hide the fact that I had my accounting books. And I said, well, I'm going to college. She said, what? This is 67. 70, 76, excuse me, I transpose those numbers. And he said, this late in the system? I said, well, I heard about this late in the system for the last 5 years, but I'm getting income in 75. And I'm going on the GI Bill, and the GI Bill pays me $450 a month, which was equal to my rent at the time, a nice 2-bedroom apartment. That's what they were renting for in the 70s. And he said, well, brother so-and-so has a carpet shampoo business, and he's looking for a big guy to help him get that equipment up the stairs. I said, yeah, he approached me, but he wasn't going to offer me as much as I could get for going to school, and I'll even get a degree. And he says, well, Brother Boy, he said, you're going to be in a class with worldly guys. And I said, college is not like high school. At least if you go on a GI Bill, all these guys are working full-time jobs. They're trying to get better jobs, in the secular world. And it really helps to have at least an associate's degree. And I know, I'll let you know, I have a master technician's license. And I got a much better job. I got to be a boss because I had my associate's degree and those other guys didn't. And my pay was almost double what they were getting. So it does behoove you to have a college education. If back in the early 70s, and a brother quit school, in his sophomore year in high school or junior year in high school as a pioneer, he was a hero. Right now, he has nothing to give an employer. So he's working a menial job. More than likely, he might got lucky and got into a union if he knew somebody. But more than likely, these people, are living on subsidized housing, food stamps, fuel assistance. They're living off the government. And these brothers out there telling the world what a horrible government we have here in the United States. That government is feeding them, clothing them, and sheltering them. The Watchtower is sick, sick, sick. And I know it was mentioned on Anne Marie's program. We watched the video too about, they're now going to let people go to college. Well, they're changing everything. The blood is a matter of conscience. Christmas will be a matter of conscience. Birthdays will be a matter of conscience. They're going mainstream. These people are such liars, such cowards. These governing body members, all of them, 8 of them or 10 of them, or wherever the number is now, they are professional liars. They don't give a damn about any of us. They just want you to go out and pioneer, bring in new recruits. Hopefully, when that recruit dies, he'll leave his house or his property to the governing body. And you're probably not getting that much money now because a lot the baby boomers that were Jehovah's Witnesses in the 70s and so forth never got an education. They're living off the state, and they're not leaving the Watchtower. They're $250,000 to $750,000 homes. They're not leaving them to the Watchtower because they don't have them.
Yeah.
They live like paupers. Thank you, Rick.
Well, thank you, Dick. Thank you very much. Hey, listen, we got a couple other callers. We're running out of time here, but let's go to John, hold on. I want to bring some new ones on first before you had a chance. I'll try to give you another chance. Let's go. Let's go. Is that Zach? Go ahead, Zach. Yep.
Yeah. Rick, I talked about this before. They lightened up once before on this college thing, and it was in 1992, around November of the year. I think it was in the November 15th Watchtower. I'm sorry I didn't hear the whole show, but I know what the subject is. Interestingly, in that Brothers Splain thing, he used the term additional education. Back in 1992, when I was discussing the article with the sister and I kept saying higher education, she corrected me and told me they didn't say higher education. They said further education. So there's still that limit that they draw around it. But I have a personal experience with all this stuff. And I'll say this, if I heard them saying it's all right, like he said it now, I would be so embittered, because as a full-fledged witness, straight from high school, I did go to college. I went straight to college. I got a call one day. I think I was in 12th grade, early in the year, and I got a call. Whatever room I was in, I had to go to the motivation counselor's office, and she said to me, they looked at records and stuff. She says, "I don't see your name on the scholarship list. Aren't you going to college?" And I said to her, I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and we're at the end of the system. I gave her that spiel, and so she talked to me more, and I said I don't have the time, and she said, "Well, how long do you think it takes to attend classes?" And I said, "Well, doesn't it take all day?" She says, "No, it takes an average of 3 hours a day to attend classes." And I look at her like, huh? All of a sudden, it's like I never knew that. And so I got interested in going to college. I got brochures and stuff, and I went off to college that next September. But these are some of the things that happened. Imagine this. My mother said when she came up to school, my father had already died. So when my mother came up to school, high school, I loved school. I really did. She told me and told my other family members that the teachers were whispering in her ear, trying to get me to go to college to major in their subject. She said all the teachers were pulling her aside and trying to get me to major in their subject. This is another thing. When I was in college, this is what happened. I'll tell you one of the subjects. When I was in 11th grade, we were trying to pick, maybe it was 10th grade, we were trying to pick whether we would be academic or commercial in the 11th grade. And so my teacher, the advisor, spoke to me, and I was picking academic, and he said, "Are you going to college?" I said, "No." He said, "If you pick academic and don't go to college, all you will be able to do is read and write when you graduate. And so I said, so what should I take? He said, well, take commercial and try to take bookkeeping. And so, okay, I took bookkeeping. And bookkeeping, I went through the course, finished early in bookkeeping 1. Then bookkeeping 2 came along, and I finished even like half a year, finished the whole book. They give me these books from Wharton School. I guess it's University of Pennsylvania. They give me that to test me. It's January of the year. Graduation is not until June. They're giving me these other books to test and see what's going on with me. This is bookkeeping 1, bookkeeping 2. Then I end up graduating, go to college. I come back at the end of my first year of college to visit my teachers. I see this one, I go to the bookkeeping teacher, and people are walking in the class, not like we did. They walk in the class and some of them are sitting down adding numbers and other people are doing other things. And I said, what is this? And the teacher said, this is a brand new course. We call it accounting. He said, we started it because of you. Now, can you imagine what I would feel like to, if I didn't get to continue the education just because I loved it so much, if I didn't get to do it, and found out now they're saying it's a conscience matter. I felt that way anyway. I did feel it was a conscience matter because I did all the research to see what they were against. They were against logic courses. They were against professors who were atheists who might erode your faith. And they were against bad association, you know, living on campus. So I avoided all of those things.
Yeah.
And I got to go. In fact, while I was in college,
Hey, Zach, we gotta kind of cut it short here a little bit, if you don't mind. We're up on. I got some people coming on, so try to wrap it up in another minute or so. Try to wrap it up. Yeah.
No one bothered me. Elders didn't bother me. No one bothered me because I was always at the meetings, did everything I was supposed to do. In fact, while I was in college, I also attended music school for classical piano, and that got gossiped about. So everything was maybe gossip, but no one bothered me. I think it's too late. They should have said this earlier, and they should, if they were changing, they should have done it earlier in the year when people had time to make decisions for this September. This is crazy. And some colleges start at the end of August.
Yeah, the timing was bad, Zach. Well, thank you. I enjoyed that story, and then that's what the witness world does. But I could see where you would be if you didn't pursue education. You'd be upset, very upset today. And so imagine how many people are out there that are upset. A lot right now. Thank you, Zach.
Yeah.
We've got to. Yeah. In fact, we're gonna Randy. Yeah, keep it to about a minute or so. We got some special announcements here we make here shortly. So go ahead, Randy. Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick comment. Somebody may have already told these types of stories, but a young man about Miranda's age, he applied to go to the one of the quick builds, and going over the application with them, he asked them. He says, "Now I can only work on the weekends." He put that on the application. They want to know why. He said, because he just started college. And they rejected him and punished him for it. Not only punished him, but they kicked his dad out from being a servant, removed his privileges there. Yeah. And he said, "You mean I can't come for the weekends?" And he held up this slip of paper. Non-exemplary, brother, non-exemplary. That's how they marked him, as non-exemplary, because he was going to college.
Yeah, that's exactly, that's exactly. They would treat you like dirt if you were going to college, or if you even thought about going. They would, Randy. You're absolutely right. But what do you think about that today, Randy? You think it's fair what the Watchtower is doing?
No, there's nothing ever fair about Watchtower.
Well, I'm with you. Nothing at all. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Kurt, we gotta. Yeah, hold on 1 second, folks. I just want to see, is Angela and Dan on with us here? Is Angela and Dan Clark on? I don't know where they went. I sent them a link. Hold on 1 second. Okay, go ahead. Let's John, hold on. We had Kurt. Let's go with Kurt. Yeah, then we'll get in the little box there. Did you want to come on video, Dan and Angela? You want to go? Okay, come on video. Send you a link. Yeah, okay. We'll get you on, so don't worry. Okay. We're not in no hurry. Take your time. Okay. All right, so let's go to Kurt, and then we'll go to John. Go ahead, Kurt.
I wanted to tell Zachary how I really appreciated his comments there a minute ago, and say to you, just kind of a frivolous comment. When an announcement like this is made, do you think the average witness would gain trust or lose trust in the governing body? Go ahead. Thank you, Rick.
Are you asking me that question, Kurt? Yeah. Well, John, answer the question. Yeah, have John answer the question. John, answer the question for him. Yep.
Hello? Are you there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to make one final point, Rick. What's interesting is that someone had mentioned that they're trying to keep the young people in. Well, it's really not going to work. I'm going to tell you why. Once you start attending college, they train you to think. You think independently. So what's going to happen is once they start going to college and they start taking classes and start thinking, doing some independent thinking, they're going to realize that this organization is run by men. That's what's going to happen. So it's really not going to work. Because once they start going to college, they're going to start thinking very, very independently, and then they're going to leave anyway. So it's not going to work.
Well, I got you, John. No, you're right.
Can I share a comment?
Yeah, go ahead. You're on with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Joe from Colorado. Want to share two quick experiences. And first of all, the governing body, they will never apologize for all the lives they've ruined. So many people could have had good educations. It could have been nurses, doctors, so forth. But anyway, we had a presiding overseer in one of the congregations when I was a young kid, and they removed him because he allowed his son to play basketball, and his son was a great basketball player. In fact, he could have went to any college. They were trying to get him a full scholarship. Well, the deal he made with his son, because he got removed as an elder, was once he played his 4 high school years, he would have to quit and pioneer. That way his dad loved the power of being an elder. So his dad ended up becoming an elder again. And poor Mike could have went to college. I haven't kept in touch with him. He's not in the Watchtower anymore. In fact, this elder had 7 kids. And I try to find out where they're at. None of them are in the Watchtower. So, it's really sad that they've stolen dreams, the lives of people. And then one last comment, and I'm sorry, I'm driving home from work. So if there's noise, even the elite get burned. And I'll just give you an example. 30 miles from where I live is a ex-district overseer and his wife. And they are living in probably the worst trailer park you could imagine. This is not a paved trailer park. That's their reward for 40 years of full-time service. So they didn't go to college. And this man who was a district overseer was a highly intelligent man, but he chose to serve the Watchtower, and their reward is living on subsidized housing from the government. Thank you, Rick.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. No, that hits home. That hits home, and those poor.
I wanted to say something earlier about the college thing. If you're reading the chat, I graduated in '75 after dehydrated nurse, as she said in the chat. Now back then, it was like, of course, it was never a disfellowshipping thing. It was not that, but it was not quote unquote encouraged, because back then I did not go to college. Some peers of mine in the congregation, not many, but a few did go to college. But 10 years later, in the 80s, just about every 18, 19-year-old in the college I attended, it was like going to the 13th grade. They all went. So I don't know what's happening today with Splain or whatever, but back then in the 80s, the same thing happened. They all went in the 80s. They all went, the congregation I went to, the young people back then. So I don't know, it's like flip-flop, you don't go, if I'm not encouraged, you go, and then they all go. So I lost track. I mean, I don't know what's going on. When like I said, I graduated 75, wasn't encouraged in the 80s. All the 18, 19-year-olds went. Now all this big thing, like I said, flip-flop. What's going on? Like it always goes on, flip-flop.
You're right, Shirley. You're absolutely right, Shirley. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I'm going to go to one more. We got one more call here. Let's go to, hold on one second. We got so many people here tonight wanting to voice in on this. I knew it was going to be like that. We had, let's see. All right. Well, we did have one. We lost them.
Next week.
Well, maybe we'll continue again next week. But yeah, no, we had so sorry, folks, for not being able to bring everybody on. But we do have something that Dan and Angela Clark wanted to bring up here on the news tonight, which is very important. And so let's bring Dan on and make sure everything's fine. Let's bring Dan on right now. And I do see that his mic is muted, so we will have to unmute it. There he is. Hello, Dan. All right, we're having. Hello, Dan. I hope he can hear me. I believe he can. We'll get him on here in a second.
Hold on.
Go.
For whatever reason, I can't see it on YouTube. I can't get the volume. Let me see.
Take your time, Dan. Well, we got Dan coming on here, and he wanted to talk about something very important. And boy, I want to tell you, I really appreciate all you callers calling in. I give Dan a little time here to get his microphone set, and he'll be right back with us. So just give him a second. But in the meantime, did someone want to, Zach, can you do it in about 2 minutes? Zach, did you have, okay. Here, hold on. Well, hold on. No, but so I'm sorry. We're back again. I'm sorry. Okay. Dan, are you with us? We're having trouble with Dan's microphone for some reason. I'm not sure why. Dan, if you can hear me, raise your hand. If you can hear me, okay. Dan can hear me. We just can't hear him. I'm not sure why. Dan, you can speak through your telephone if you want. You can stay on you can stay on the video and speak through your telephone. Yep. Let's see what happens with that. That's one way you can probably get around it. So this technical issue.
How do we sound?
A little echoing going on there. Why don't you just come on the radio? You should come off of the video and just go on the telephone line. That'd be fine. Yeah, go come off of that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's good. All right, we'll get him on the telephone line here. All right, we'll get.
Hang on. Let me get out of here.
Well, Dan, that's okay. Yeah, you gotta go ahead and just dial on the telephone. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Are you there, Rich?
I'm here. Yep.
Yeah. So what I wanted to talk about was, this week I saw some really, really, really bad stuff online regarding, infighting inside the XJW community, and I know it doesn't happen very often, but when it happens, it's really disturbing. And anyway, what I wanted to say about it was the reason that I wanted to do the show was because the hatred and what I saw was at the level of Manson. The hatred that I saw was at the level of Manson. I saw a lady getting pissed on, and while she was being pissed on, they put in a demonic ornament. It was just within the picture symbol on her head.
Just can't hit them.
Are you there? Are you there?
Yeah. In fact, Dan, let me just.
You might cut everybody out, Rick, while we're talking, so we can finish.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to blank. Oh, hold on 1 second here. Let's do this. But if I mute everybody, you'll be muted too because you're on the telephone line. So it'll be a little difficult.
I'll talk to anybody.
anytime, any place.
Okay, let's just do this. We have to. All right, listen, folks. Can we just not speak up right now? Well, Dan's on. We'll bring you guys on later. Go ahead, Dan. I can't mute everyone because if I do, then I won't hear you either. So, but I'll try to do it manually here. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
As
Go
long
ahead.
as we can get a fairly decent
Yeah.
conversation going. But anyway, I hadn't really seen, hate at this level. Like I said, somebody being urinated on, a picture.
Well, let's go. Hold on 1 second, Dan. Just come back and say hate at what level? People are wondering. Tell where is this hate being shown?
Yeah, it's online. It's on some of the YouTube channels. Some videos are being passed around. But the one I saw, I'm not really interested. I'll tell you why. I know people get triggered. I know people get mad in the XJW community. I know I've had a temper on there before. Other people have had a temper. But when I saw somebody peeing on somebody's face, even though it was like a cartoon, but the face was somebody's real face. And what I want to say is it could have been your face, but it wasn't only being peed on. There was hate speech with it. You bitch, you cunt, you bit. And the thing about it was the person didn't even really know that person. The person heard about that person through another person. And this person was it looked like a satanic ritual. There was voiceovers, and I thought, man, this is like a new level of hate. You know what I mean? And I know where it's breeded from.
Yeah, just what we want to say here, because I think some of the audience still might be a little confused. So this hatred you're saying in the ex-Jehovah's Witness world, right? And the ex-witnesses are showing hate toward one another, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's sad, Rick, because as a unit, there's no one person bringing down Watchtower. There's no one person. I don't bring them down. You don't bring them down. Everybody contributes to bringing them down. But hate pushes people out of this. Hate pushes people away. Like it isn't so much people are afraid. People don't want to deal with it. People are at all different types of level when they come out of Watchtower. You come through your anger. You come through your paranoia, hopelessness, alcoholism, narcissism, being victims. These are all things we all have to come out of when we come out of Watchtower. We're not just healed when we come out of Watchtower. We have a lot of baggage. Everybody has different baggage. I have my baggage. I had things that I've had to work on. But when I saw these videos, like I said, they were at a Charles Manson level. The hate was that high. And I went, wow. And I heard through the grapevine, they really didn't even know this lady. It was just some guy promoting it. And promoting it based on something someone else said, who was fearful that someone was talking about them. And I want to say something in this community. If you're out here, you're going to be talked about. Am I right, Rick?
Oh yeah, no. Once you get into the limelight, Dan, you will get criticized. That's a known fact. That happens a lot. Yes.
So anyway, I just thought, and I thought, man, this is so toxic. Who would want to stay in it? And when I came in this community, I saw a lot of people leaving. I saw a lot of people exiting the community. I was like, why are you leaving? What are you doing? And there was some toxicity that I couldn't see. I really couldn't see it. Nobody really directed it at me or anything, but I was like, wow, you're leaving, you're going to leave. You can be a part of helping, take this thing down. We're all contributing. But they were leaving. And I've seen some of it. Me and Angela got away for a little bit. We went on vacation. We did some work out of town where Angela's mom died. So we've been away for about 6 months. And when we came back, there were videos of me posted on there. There were videos of other people. There was hate. I saw people doing hate videos of you. I saw hate. I saw so many, and I thought, what the hell? I thought, this is toxic. And I've already rebuilt my life. I got out of there. I had to work through all those things. Anger was big with me. Paranoia was big with me. I had all these things I had to work on. And I worked on them. And I got through them. And I built my life back. And I built a really, really good life. But I had to say, when I came back, it was so toxic. I thought, man, how could anybody operate in it? Why would anybody want to operate in it? You know, it was like yuck. And what I want to say is this: there's a lot of shit. I want to say this one thing too. If you're afraid your YouTube channel is going to be taken down, it's because you're running your mouth and you're hating. YouTube believes in free speech. YouTube says free speech is free speech. You can say whatever you want for the most part. If you slander, if you do defamation of character, they'll take you down. They'll give you a warning. They'll take a video down. They'll take a second or third one down, but then you're done. You're permanently banned from YouTube. And nobody can do that to you but you. If you're putting slanderous, racist shit out, then you're going to be taken down by your own means. It's not you're so damn important and you're so clever and forces, unseen forces are coming after your stupid ass. It's because you're running your mouth. And it's sad, you know? I had a lady one time. Can I tell you a little story?
Yeah, go ahead.
I had a little lady that helped me through a little paranoia when I came out. I got a corporate job. I never had a corporate job. I was always working with my hands. And I went into this job and they were paying me a lot of money and I didn't feel like I was working for it, you know? I felt like I was making a hefty wage and I really wasn't used to sitting behind a computer, going down to a floor and running 45 people. I was like, man, I'm getting paid for nothing. So I had a mentor and I went to the mentor and I said, am I getting paid? She goes, sure, you get paid to babysit. That's what you do. And I said, babysit? She goes, yeah. Well, anyway, Rick, some paranoia came over of me. And I want to say this, paranoia is normal. When we come out of Watchtower, paranoia is very normal. We're paranoid about the world. We're paranoid about Satan. Everybody's after us. Everyone that's out in the world is part of Satan's organization. You know, the world is going to be destroyed in a minute. So we have a level of paranoia. That level of paranoia can be squelched and bitten in the ass if we're willing to work with somebody, if we're willing to talk to somebody. There might be people who need meds, and that's okay. My mother needed meds. I know how full-blown schizophrenia starts. They're after me. They're targeting me. They're coming after me. They're trying to get me. It starts like that. And my mother went through that. My mother would go down the street and say, they know, Dan, they know. And I'd say, what do they know, Mom? They know I'm having a breakdown. I said, no, nobody knows, Mom. Well, she would go down the street and she would talk to all the neighbors. And she would say, hi, Aloysia. Hi, Carrie. How you doing? Then she'd come home and she'd go, they know, Dan, they know. Well, there's people in the organization like this. So anyway, so I had my little bout here. So I'm in this corporation and I started going into that. You know, they're going to fire me. I said, they're going to fire me. So I called my mentor, this lady, really nice, strong lady. And thank God she was strong. But she goes, take out a pencil and write down what they're doing. And I said, okay, thank you. And her name was Marcia. I said, thank you, Marcia. And she goes, write it down. What are they doing? And I said, well, they're planning on firing me. They're planning on getting rid of me. She goes, okay, that's good. How do you know? I said, I can tell. I can tell by the way they're looking at me. Okay, write that down. And I wrote this down for about 4 days. 4 days, full paper. They're after me. I need to get a job. I need to go get another job. You know, and I'm in this nice job, you know. Never had a job where I didn't really have to get my hands dirty. And so anyway, about 4 days later, my boss calls me up. And here it is. He's going to let me go. He's got his back to me, and he turns around, and he says, have a seat. And then he goes, stand up. And I go, oh, shit, here it is. My worst dream come true. And I said, yeah. And he goes, I want to shake your hand. And I said, shake my hand? And he goes, yes, you're doing an excellent job. Excellent job. I don't plan on, he didn't say I don't plan on firing you. He said, you're doing an excellent job. He gave me a little raise. He said, there's nobody out there that's lasted as long as you. It was a pretty hostile environment. It was a furniture manufacturing company. And he said, I just want to congratulate you. he didn't want to hire me because I didn't have an education. And I want to put a punch in. You don't need an education to make money. You can make money a lot of other ways. Education is for some people, not everybody. But anyway, I didn't have an education. They didn't even want to pay me the money because of I didn't have the bachelor's degree, but they paid me it anyway because I knew what the hell I was doing. But anyway, this level of paranoia came in, and the man shook my hand and said I was doing the best job of anybody they've ever had in the company. So guess what I did, Rick? I went back and I called my mentor. And I said, hey, guess what? And she said, what? What's happened? And I said, oh my God, they love me here. I'm doing a fabulous job. Oh my God, oh my God. I got a raise. I got a little raise and they love me and everything. And she goes, okay, great. But here's what I want you to do. And I said, what? She goes, I want you to read your notes to me. Oh my God. Read my notes? Oh my God. I want to hide them. And it was all full of hallucination. It was all full of imagination that somebody was out to get me because I wasn't educated. I didn't have a degree. They were going to get rid of me. They were just going to use me for a little time. I wasn't working hard enough the way they wanted. I didn't know the computers and all the different things that academia people know. But anyway, I almost fainted when I read my notes. And she said, that's called hallucination. Now, would you like to work on that? And she says, here's how we're going to work on it. She said, next time when you start hallucinating, when you start imagining that, they're going to fire you, whatever comes in your mind. She says, I want you to go to that person and I want you to ask them. I want you to ask them, is this true? Instead of hallucinate, instead of build up a world, build up an altar, and then operate out of an altar. Do you know what I'm talking about, an altar, Rick?
Yes.
An altar is a personality. It's an illusion. It's an imaginary thing that you build up. And when you build up, it can actually become a real reality. With my mother, she would start thinking they knew about her. She would start thinking they, this and that about her. And then all of a sudden she would believe it as real. And then she would start living from the altar. And then she would have to go in and have her meds changed or whatever. So anyway, long story short, I took that seriously. I was like, wow, I never want to do it again. One of the things I'll say to people is that, so are you sure about that? Are you sure that's so? Did you ask them? Did you, me and Angela, do that to each other all the time? No, don't just assume. Let's ask. Let's find out. Let's make sure that's a thing. But anyway, Rick, I had to work through that paranoia, and I did. I had to work through anger, 10 years of anger. I had to work through alcoholism, and I also have to work through victimization. And I just want to share something on victimization. Victimization is not telling your story. Everybody needs to tell their story, just to clear the slate. I mentioned it once before, and they go, Dan doesn't want us to tell our story. He's trying to hurt us. He's trying to cut it, and it's not, he's trying to shut us up. Us sex trafficking people, they're trying to shut us up. Oh my God, and it wasn't true. A victim is a person who wears their story on them like a fucking light. They go down the street like a big beam light. Here's my story, everybody. And they're announcing it. And it's their last story. And it's people who are not getting on their feet. It's people that are not getting well. The Watchtower story's their last story. And it doesn't have to be. So why am I speaking about it? Because I had a problem with it too. I had a lady, I was telling my story. She goes, Dan, I think you're falling in love with your story. I said, whoa. Like I said, it was this really tough lady who had the courage to tell me the truth. She goes, you're falling in love with your story. And she goes, and I want to tell you something. And she was very wealthy. The lady was very wealthy. She had nice homes. She had been to college. She just had it together. And I said, what am I doing? She said, well, you're making your story with Watchtower the last story. And she's like, you're not going to get well. And you're not that important. You know what I mean? And so what was happening, Rick, was every time I went into a 12-step, I was so damn excited. oh my God, I'm gonna beat the Catholics. My story's gonna supersede the Catholics. Inner child journey. My story's gonna rock they've never heard a Jehovah's Witness story before. But Rick, I was not getting well. I was stuck in my story. And that is what a victim is. I have family people that got stuck in their story. They're dead. My brother's dead. He was stuck in his story. He never got to taste life. He never got to taste the goodness of life. To find out why he was here. Who are we? Why are we here? Where are we going? What's my purpose? You know, he never discovered that. He couldn't wait to tell his story. And his story became his last story. And my mother's story became her last story. Died, you know? And so that was the reason I wanted to talk about this. If you're online, you want to be careful. There's some sick people out there. There's a lot of healthy people out there too. There's a lot of good people out there too. We can all help each other. We can all of us who've come out of Watchtower, everyone who's come out of Watchtower is very important. A friend of mine, mentor, out of Boulder, he was a professor. He said, if you come out of Watchtower, you're an escape artist. You can help others escape. Just not everybody escapes the way Dan escapes, or Rick Fearon, or this other person. We're all contributing to helping people escape. And so we can all be a part of something wonderful, but just know this, when you're out in the community, do your due diligence. This is like a consumer alert. Do your due diligence. When you're talking to somebody, when you're out there, when you're considering maybe hiring somebody to help you through something, maybe there's a witness out there who's a coach. Find out if their life's together. Find out, are they an alcoholic? You know, are they angry? Are they paranoid? What's going on? Do your due diligence or you'll suffer. I've recently heard there's like 6 women out there that are really getting hacked and hammered. Facebook page has gone through. TikTok page has gone through. You know, going through private information, calling. People are calling people, doing all sorts of weird stuff because of paranoia, because they're afraid somebody's going to talk about them. Like we said, in this community, people are going to talk about you. They talk about me. They talk about everybody. And that's okay. A healthy person can handle it. But an unhealthy person gets sicker. And so I just want to say, the reason I wanted to do this, Rick, was because I'm not saying I'm above all this shit. There's narcissism out here. There's men who want to hush women up. They want to hush them up. They want to keep them quiet. They want to push them in a corner. You know what I mean? Calling them over and over. You know, doing things on the side, like this video I saw of this guy, just trying to mess with somebody. But the level that I saw of this was a level that I've never seen before. It was a level of sickness that I've never seen before. It was a level of paranoia that I've never seen before. And there's no reason for it. So I just want to say, for everyone who's out there in the community, we're all doing a great job. We're dismantling Watchtower. If you want your website to grow, put out good content. Put out good content. If you slander people, you're probably going to go to court. You're going to go to jail maybe. You might even be asked to take a schizophrenic test if you continue to put this stuff out. YouTube, I just want to say this about YouTube. Okay. When I used to make YouTubes, if I swore on there, if I said the F word, if I sounded aggressive, YouTube would say, I can't put commercials on your YouTube. Nobody would take you. Nobody wants to advertise a crazy man. So if you've got a guy on there, you know, that looks like he's burning a woman at a stake, cussing names at her, he ain't going nowhere but out of business. And so that shit has to stop. And that's what I've seen here in the last month. And I know it's based on fear. I know it's fear, but you don't have to fear. People are going to talk about you, and people need to talk to other people. That's the other thing I want to see. If you feel you're being threatened, call the authorities. If you feel you're being harassed by somebody on the phone, call the authorities and tell them you're being harassed. Talk to other people. Let them know you're being harassed. And join together. Don't hide. You don't have to hide. A lot of those people that are doing that are very weak. They're very fearful. They're very scared. And so you don't have to hide from them. Anyway, that's about all I wanted. Oh, Angela wants to say something. Hang on.
All right, we only got about okay, Angela, you keep it. We only got about 5 minutes left. We got another show coming up. Yep.
All right, no worries. That's all I need, actually. I just want to say, with regard to our views, when we come out of the witnesses, or for me, I came out of the Worldwide Church of God, we end up starting our search. All of us do. On, well, what do I believe now? Who should I follow now? And we want our nature is to want to be in a tribe. And we all do it. We're looking for the next tribe, the next right group. And, if that's not the truth, then where is it? And we all do this. And so we're going to go down a lot of weird roads. And I remember my father, he was like, Angela, I found the truth. I found the truth, of Seventh-day Adventism. And he was not going to be content unless I went from worldwide now to Seventh-day Adventism. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're condemning me because I won't become a Seventh-day Adventist. But Dad, you were wrong actually more than once in telling me that was the truth. It wasn't just straight from worldwide to Seventh-day Adventism, but each time it was like, this is the truth. Now this is the truth. It's like, we're all going to do it. So maybe we shouldn't judge one another. Maybe we should let each other go down whatever roads each of us feels necessary to find our truth, to find our path. And sometimes condemnation comes from people doing a different search than they think is what they're finding to be true. But guess what? What you believe today may very well not be what you believe 3, 4, 10 years from now. So you got to just give yourself a break, give everyone else a break, let everyone, discover on their own, and try hard not to judge. And that's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Angela, and thank you, Dan, for that announcement. And obviously, you've been harassed by former Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, I've been on the air for 20 years, and obviously, it is getting worse. But it even went on 20 years ago, and I've come to understand one thing: when people leave the Watchtower, they're undergoing intense trauma and grief. They are leaving a religion, being shunned, not having any love shown to them. I'm not giving excuses, but I'm saying they're basically suffering mentally. Many people leaving the Watchtower are suffering mentally. They need to make emotional maladjustment. Actually, hold on one second. Let me talk. Okay. So basically what you've got is we got people suffering from mental issues out there, a lot of them. I have been accused of everything. I have drunken Bethelites that try to come in my program almost on a weekly basis. I had a woman not too long ago that actually said on the air that I actually pushed my former wife down the stairs and killed her. I mean, this is how sick people are. Now, not all, as Dan was saying, and Angela, there's good ones too, but there's a lot of people out there that their mental health issues have been exacerbated by leaving the Watchtower. They're shunning all of this. Yeah, it's made them worse, Dan. Hold on one second. Let's let Dan will bring the sister on. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I just want to say, a lot of the people that leave, a lot of the people, even some of them that are doing this, are very intelligent people. But the other part of it's outweighing that. And I've had some of that too, where I'm intelligent, but I've also had things, alcoholism and some of the other stuff too, that started to outweigh it. So it isn't that anybody's hopeless. It's just you've got to rein it back in. If you've got problems with paranoia, if you've got problems with being a victim or anger, you've got to rein it back in. If you're drinking too much, you've got to rein it back in. You've got to listen to people. If somebody tells you you've got a problem with this or that, you might want to pay attention. And you know what? You can be of tremendous value. Everybody, I know some of these people. They're very intelligent. Maybe their IQs are very high. but you can't let this other stuff that comes with Watchtower consume you. You can fix it, and you can be 100 times better. Like I said, you can build a great website. You can do coaching, but don't do it from hate. You know.
I got you. No, Dan, I see exactly what you're saying. And some of these people really get under your skin. They really will. In some of the things they're doing. And another thing I've found, Dan and Angela, and those listening in here, there seems to be almost a jealousy or a competitive spirit that some of these ex-Jehovah's Witnesses have. And it's really driving me nuts. And a lot of these people, they're out for money. They're trying to make money. Can I, I'll bring you on.
It's been a long time.
I understand, Martha, but I'm right in the middle of talking right now. Let me finish and I'll get to you. Okay, I'll get to you. Just give me a second. So then I lose my train of thought. All right. I mean, really, you got me? I mean, that's what you do. You start talking, then you love me? Well, I'm glad somebody does. Thank you. All right. So anyways, what I was saying is that this has been going on, but it's getting worse. And a lot of people are trying to make money. They're trying to make money through therapy. Well, I'm a great therapist, and you'll come to me and I'll charge you $1,000 to straighten you out. So I don't know what people's motives are, but Dan and Angela, you're right. It's not getting any better. Let me bring Martha on. And if you listen, hold on 1 second. Hold on. Stephanie, I know you got the program coming up. Well, we're a little over time here. I really appreciate you waiting. I know you have a guest coming on, but just wait to give us a few more minutes and we'll clean this up. Martha, what do you have to say?
I love you. You still doing great work. You just go. The wind hit the fan somehow, and I've been trying to stay in the background and let you guys do your beautiful work, and you've been doing great. And I love it, but apparently something has occurred that I somehow fell back under the sheets with, and I'm sorry. I apologize that I have left you guys in something that has apparently blown up. I don't know what's happening. It seems to like do this kind of thing around every 5 years or so, that we get a new crop of people coming out of the Watchtower, don't know what to do or where to go, and it takes us a long time to help them unravel their squeaky things. Am I right?
Well, you're right, Martha. No, thank you for saying that. And it is. In fact, it's funny you say that about it does show up. It goes away for a while, and then it pops up again. But right now it's popping up. There's a lot of, and Dan is rightfully so in suggesting some of the things. He didn't even get into all of it. He didn't. There's a lot more there, but he tried to keep it down and calm. But there's a lot going on. But let's try to, if you're listening in, anyone doing this, try to be. Well, what's the matter with being nice to people? What is the matter with being nice?
Exactly.
I mean,
there's no reason to be exasperating already hurt that's already there.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's a real sad thing,
Yeah.
and the Watchtower just loves doing this.
Oh, they love it.
They want to leave garbage in their wake.
Well, they do, Martha. Well, I wish we had more time. We do have a new program just started last week, and I got to bring her on. But I want to thank Dan. I want to thank Angela. I want to thank you, Martha, and all the people that called in tonight. And I wish we had more time. I really, really do. But I'm gonna continue the higher education next week. Geez, we had so many people coming in tonight. I'm looking at the computer screen. It's filled with callers. They're coming in from all over the world tonight. So thank you all for coming in. We got a program. It's called Justice for All. Stephanie Lynn Carson, Sister Willow, she's known as. She was involved with the Pennsylvania inquiry. She actually testified to the grand jury about all of the sex problems, including sex trafficking that's taking place in Pennsylvania and other states as well. So Stephanie's on with us next. And thank you, everyone, for being patient and understanding. And I have to say this, keep standing tall. Don't you ever give in, up, or out. And the last one, leaving the Watchtower. Please, please turn off the new light. We'll see you in our next program. Thanks for being with us.